Hi, thanks for hearing all of us. I get really emotional public speaking, and I've been tearing up all morning, so bear with me. I just wanted to read, I was looking at your biography, Mr. Pinches, and I saw this. It's another version of sort of, the mission of the Board of Supervisors, and it says, the Mendocino County Board of Supervisors is responsible for exercising its legislative and quasi-judicial authority within budgetary constraints to provide for the health, welfare, and safety of the residents of Mendocino County. So I think, based on what we're hearing, it's pretty clear what you need to do. And I just wanted to give a little perspective. I threw myself into this about 8 days ago. I've totally thrown myself into this. And most of that has been just trying to educate myself, just going and reading everything I can get my hands on and talking to people with every kind of perspective on this. And the more I learn, the more it's just a bad idea. You've heard tons of reasons, and there's tons more reasons that you'll keep learning. And I don't think this bypass is going to be built like it's designed. I really believe that it's not going to be built. And we're going to need your help for that. And I got involved in this because of the courage and the hard work and the intelligence of all these people. And I just want to tell you that I believe in you all, because I know that it's going to be hard to, I think this is relatively unprecedented, and it's hard to say, yeah, we made a mistake, and it's kind of going to probably be a pain in the ass to undo this. But I think it's pretty clear what needs to happen, and I don't think this bypass is going to be built. And I just want to tell you ahead of time, thank you for, seriously, thank you for all your work that you're going to do on this, to undo this, because, thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
I believe in you.
I think this project that would ruin the wetlands and not alleviate any traffic congestion is a terrible idea, and the concerns you've heard today are only the tip of the iceberg. State Senator Noreen Evans sent a letter to Michael Doherty wanting to meet with him and asking him to respond to a lot of concerns she has heard from many of her constituents to explain what are the environmental benefits of this, and how could this come together properly. And I don't think that they have an answer. So they did a huge rush to go out and cut the trees before the birds start nesting, because that's a violation of the Migratory Bird Act. And on our way here from Fort Bragg, we ran into 15 empty log trucks ready to cut trees. While they have us here distracted, it's pretty pitiful. But I hope I can have confidence in you, the board. I know most of you are environmentally correct people, and this, they've been planning this a long time, but I think it's changed and switched, and we got the bait and switch, and it's time to say, let's take a look at it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashton.
Hi.
I'm a Willits resident and currently I'm managing a local business. My heart's pounding. I'm emotional. This is my hometown, and I don't want to see this. In 2005, when I was graduating from Willits High School, I was required to write a 5-year plan. That plan included going away to college, but returning to Willits to raise a family and manage a local downtown business. 5 years has come and gone, and in 3 short months, I will be giving birth to one more local resident. And this year, we will be celebrating our 6th anniversary as a successful business in the heart of downtown Willits. However, the economics of downtown Willits are very fragile. We have witnessed the opening and closing of numerous neighboring businesses during our current 6-year run. We absolutely count on every dollar that is brought in from tourism. Diverting those tourism dollars out of Willits will be the definite downfall of many local businesses. The closing of these businesses, as projected by Caltrans, will make our downtown Willits a ghost town. In addition, for years I've listened to the stories of my grandfather about the wildlife, rivers, and streams he enjoyed as a child. I too enjoyed our valley as a child, riding horses from Valley Road across Center Valley to the backside and back around, sometimes even down the 101. I am outraged. My son and daughter's memories will be of noise and destruction in our Little Lake Valley. Your letter does not represent the opinions of myself, my family, or the business I manage. I expect our elected officials to stand by the business owners, landowners, and children who are the life of Willits, not Caltrans. It is not too late to listen to the people and to stop this project. My 6-year-old son said it best last night to his dad and I. Whose terrible idea is this? We need nature. Our family and town need our valley to be happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Oceani. I'm a Willits resident. A new resident, just as of last year. And I'm no stranger to change. I've lived around the country. I've been around the world. And I know how folks can fall in love with a landscape and how that can be hard to see it developed. But, you know, this here is my New Orleans child, and Willits resembles post-Katrina New Orleans right now under martial law. I couldn't sleep the other night because it's very unnerving being surrounded by men with guns. And I don't know since when it takes that kind of firepower to build a freeway. And if you're wondering, you know, I have a degree in environmental management, environmental molecular toxicology, but if you're wondering where the support, you know, is coming from for this sort of construction, look at those guns, because that's gangster politics. I know when I've seen it. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Rice.
Hi, my name is Tim Rice. I live in the Little Lake Valley. So what's really going on here? We got a clash of... all right, well, how's that? So we got a clash of worldviews here. I mean, for long time, we've had most of our society have the worldview that we are separate from nature, that we can do anything we want with it. We've had a dominator culture that says that if I'm in power, I get to do whatever I want. If I got the money behind me, I can do whatever I want. And now, here we are in the 21st century, and we've got an awful lot of people that recognize that we are not separate from nature. We are a part of, that we cannot exist without the rest of nature. And we've got a whole lot of people that recognize that we have to protect that which allows us to live. And they see the folly of this boondoggle and are trying to do something about it. So you have to kind of ask yourself, where are you? I mean, are you stuck in the 20th century mindset that, well, this is the way we do things and we're going ahead with it? Or are you part of the people that are waking up? Are we going to, you know, are your grandchildren going to look back and be proud of your decision today or embarrassed? Consider that.
I'm Jessica Stellato. I just want to let you know that there are several other people who would really like to be here today, but they are out there on the ground protecting our valley, protecting the health and well-being of our community. You should know too, from word from them, that Caltrans is currently on a rampage, putting the brave souls who are standing up for our watershed and our community health in grave danger. That CHP choppers were at the level of the canopy near the tree sitters, and that trees were being felled just 10 feet away from them. And that needs to be stopped before someone gets hurt. I know we're better than that here. Willits, as you've heard from a few people now, Willits is becoming a war zone. There are CHP officers from out of the area and all over town, and it's scary. And this is not how community planning processes should go. This is heartbreaking. I really believe in community processes, and this is not a healthy one. But down here, with all of these people here and with all of you, we have an opportunity to choose to speak up for the health and safety of our water, to speak for life, and to choose a path of peace by working together to come up with an alternative that really does work for everyone, where we won't be pitted against one another, because that's not the way it needs to go at all. You should also know that there's, no one's mentioned yet, there's a lawsuit this in June, and it very well may be that the outcome of that lawsuit is that this project doesn't go through. We need to halt continuing down that path of doing this work until we see the lawsuit, in case we're damaging things that aren't even part of the project. There's also a water study that came out in 2006 that obviously wasn't included in the EIR that said that the community needs that water, and so that's very disturbing that hasn't been considered. The 2009 general plan policies, how is that being reflected there? That's what I gave to you, so I hope you take a look at those. Past decisions don't have to lock us into a future. I have a lot of hope, and like Lucy said, I really believe in all of you. Every single one of you, I know, has shared values with all of us, and I am completely convinced that we can come up with an idea that works for everyone, that makes a smaller route that isn't so destructive, that protects the public, that protects the groundwater resources, the environment, and everything, and still solves all the traffic problems. I know that every single one of you has enough creativity, every single one of these people, and we can do this together, but we need to make that decision right now. It is crucial.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you.
Sheila Dawn Tracy. I'd like to address this letter to Malcolm Doherty because it contains a number of misrepresentations, that is, untruths, that is, lies. The first one is that it says it is the controversial project within a small segment of the local community. I am one of the few people here not from Willits. I am from the coast, and you've seen my face here a couple of times a month to speak on various issues. This bypass is not going to affect that traffic from the coast and all of the traffic that comes from the coast. You still will have the same problems coming from Highway 20. I want to address the statement that at this time the public process for the Willits bypass has concluded. I don't think everyone who's spoken here today agrees with that statement. And if it is true, then this is a country that believes in democracy. One vote per one person. And yet we are not doing a democratic process here. We don't even have a straw poll of the community to find out if it's overwhelmingly against or overwhelmingly in support. So I am saying that if that statement is true, it demonstrates a steamrolling of the community voices and a suppressing of the public interest. I believe that Caltrans is doing this project not in the community interest, but in their own interest to provide jobs for themselves and funding for their organization for the next 6 years. So I just want to move to one little story that I have, a personal story about that very intersection that we're all talking about, the bottleneck. I got a ticket 2 years ago. And in researching for my hearing, I went to the Caltrans people on the coast, and I said, too bad your funding got lost. And they said, oh no, we're going through with it. So obviously, they're not concerned with funding. They're going to go through with it. Then I wrote a letter to Troy Arsenault, who was in charge of the project at that time for redoing that section of the highway by Holly Street and Highway 1. And I said, you could solve this problem right now by getting a gallon of paint and putting the words yield in the right lane, because what I saw from my ticket was the right lane is used as a fast lane, and the left lane is impacted because all those people move up 50 cars and merge into the left lane, and the left lane doesn't move. I didn't move for 2 light changes, and I got caught in the middle of the intersection, and I won my ticket, by the way. So I wanted to say that they sent me back and said, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to eliminate the left lane. But I'm saying for $100, you could immediately change the impact of that bottleneck. $100. But Caltrans doesn't want to use $100. They want to spend $100,000 to pave that whole section over when it could be done cheaper and faster right now, today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheila.
Hi, is this working okay with this mask on? Okay, my name is Cheryl Smith. I'm from Willits. And personally, I have an issue regarding breathing because of all the pollution that is going to be created for the next 6 years. When you come up over and look down into the Willits Valley, oftentimes you're greeted by a lake of fog. Well, that's going to be a lake of pollution because it's an inversion layer. It just doesn't go away. And my concern isn't so much for myself because I'm old and I'm, a few more years of wearing a mask and taking medicine and I'm done. But the young people, the people in the high school, they're right underneath not only 6 years of pollution, but right underneath where that interchange is going to be. And there are the young folks out there working hard to be athletes and breathing deeply. And what are they breathing? So that's the area certainly of interest to me. And another thing is on March 13th at the Willits City Council meeting, Willits Mayor Holly Madrigal said that she was concerned about the flooding due to the bypass construction and that Cloverdale had experienced a lot of problems, and so they were suing Caltrans and that they got no relief. And one of the reasons that the Caltrans won the first round was that Cloverdale had not let them know during a 90-day comment period, but unfortunately, the city engineer said that he hadn't received an announcement of that 30-day period. So what I'm looking at is anybody can get online. It's the court case. So Caltrans is supposed to leave Willits in a state of good repair. And if it doesn't, then Willits has meager resources to sue Caltrans. Because here it says that, yes, the court said, you can appeal, but Caltrans can depart from Section 73, but provides that relinquishment can ultimately be accomplished over a city's objection. So whether they object in time or not, that relinquishment can happen, and Caltrans can leave things in not good repair. And the court further said that the parties they can go ahead and appeal, but that they will be bearing their own costs on appeal, and I'm quoting here. So who has money for lawyers, Willits or Caltrans?
Thank you.
Steve Scalmanini from here in Ukiah. I'm one of the relative newcomers to the area, as many of you know, only been here 13 years. But I just want to cover a couple of high-level points. I'm always concerned when I hear allegations or see something in writing that I think is a bit bogus. So in this case, regarding the letter that you're being asked to sign, it claims the public process is through. I'd like to ask if anyone wants to claim that those weren't the same words said in San Francisco in the 1950s when the Embarcadero Freeway was approved. It lasted 40 years, and the public process eventually got reactivated, and the whole thing was undone at a later date. San Francisco showed at that time that a mistake can be remedied, although with the appropriate expenses of building it and taking it down. And I think you have the opportunity to prevent a mistake from being made and large, millions being spent before that mistake is made. And I certainly think that should be considered. I also want to pose the question, when was the last time you heard of the environmental community and the Farm Bureau being on the same side of a development issue? I was thinking maybe 18s, well, anyway, it goes back a long time. And so I'm not sure the significance of that is being heard, but I would certainly hope that you consider that. They are not here today, apparently, but I've heard that their opposition is clear and unmistakable. So just please do not approve this letter, and let's find a better design for the bypass that works for the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks. Well, obviously, I'm against the bypass. I'm a newbie in Willits. We've only lived there 25 years. My kids were raised there. I live right in the valley. I'm not probably a mile away from where the bypass is going to be. My street is the unofficial bypass because anybody that knows, they can drive Center Valley Road and they don't have to go down Main Street where Caltrans bottlenecks all the traffic. And I would take 10 times the traffic on my road if we could not build this thing. And I so hope that you guys don't sign this letter because I feel so emotional about it. When I think about the wetlands and the river, I mean, like the guy said earlier, he can't even fish in Outlet Creek because of all the regulations on the rivers, and they're going to destroy the wetlands. And oh, no, that's right, they're just going to move them over to the other end of the valley. I think maybe they're going to get a valley tilter or something, push it over there. I don't get it, I just don't understand. And I had a nice little conversation with Phil Dow earlier after the first part of the meeting, and I still don't understand. I think about, what would God say about this? Creation. We're just going to go in there and change creation? I don't know. I don't understand. Okay, there's been mention about all the other towns that got bypassed, and they're all okay. Well, maybe they are, maybe they're not. We've heard that they may not be okay, but they didn't have a wetlands at one end. They might have been a small valley, and it's what do you call it? Not very pretty to have a big freeway. But they didn't have a wetland that attracts migratory birds and spawns fish and the whole shot. I just think that also the acquisition of the land from the ranchers was dishonest. They were told one thing, and then as soon as they signed, they were told something else, which is why the Farm Bureau is involved. The whole thing, Caltrans doesn't follow the regulations it's supposed to follow. You hear it all the time. I can't believe that there weren't nests yet in some of those trees they took down. But I also don't believe that they're being observed, so why should they care? I know. Yeah, I don't have much else to say, but I just beg you, please don't sign that letter.
Thank you.
First thing I'd like for you to do, and this isn't the first time I've done this, I want you to look around the room, and I want you to look at the photographs on the wall. Don't look at me, look at the photographs. Okay, now what do you see? You see beautiful, bucolic images of Mendocino County, the things that make you proud. What we will never see here is a picture of the Willits bypass. Hopefully because it'll never get built. Yeah. Please do not approve this letter. Just don't. I'm not asking you to come out against the bypass. Just don't approve this letter. You don't need to. I have some problems with a number of things, and they're insignificant compared to Malachi Schindel. I am just blown away that anybody that knows Malachi knows that this is a young man who lives his life with passion and truth. And he is being kept up nights because somebody is not enforcing the sound code from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Mr. Winkle, speaking of the sound code, could you get a little
Can
closer
I
to
get
the
a little
mic?
closer? Okay.
I'm just afraid we're not
All right,
picking you
okay,
up.
all right.
I'm getting the
Okay,
sign
sound
from
good.
back there.
Sound good. All right, so, and Sheriff Wallman probably rightly says it is not within his jurisdiction. I predict that tonight at 10, if I have to go there, it will be within his jurisdiction. I really don't intend for the Schindels to have another night like that. Please, please, do not send this letter. Speed of the pack is determined by the speed of the leader. You are our elected leaders. Please show us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Winkle. And that,
Good afternoon. My name's Sherry Howe, and I've been a Willits resident for 13 years. I've raised 2 children in Willits. I've worked in the Willits Public School District for 10 years. My husband works as a director for the Willits Charter School. And I guess I wanted to come up here because I wanted to speak for the children. I've been working with children since I've lived in this area. And I guess I'm just so heartbroken. I mean, I feel in absolute solidarity with the people here today, my community members, for the reasons for the environment and all of those issues. But I just feel like if this is the legacy we're going to leave for our children, it's beyond heartbreaking. And I know the children of our community because I've been working with them for a long time, and so has my husband. And they don't need another big thing like this. They need the dollars in our community spent on activities for them to do and healthy alternatives for what they do with their lives every single day, not a huge disaster moved into their beautiful valley. And I'd also like to say that when I first heard of the bypass, I knew nothing about it, and I thought it was a good idea. And as soon as I started researching and finding out lots of information about it, I discovered that I think it's a really horrible idea. So I'd like to reiterate, when I didn't know anything about it, I believed in it. And once I learned about it, I no longer believed in it. I was able to change my mind because of really, really logical information and really realizing what the impact was going to be on our lives. And I would really encourage you all to take all this information that you've gotten today and please reevaluate the situation, and please take it to heart in a personal way and looking at future generations like people have talked about, because they matter. Thank you.
thank you. And I want to thank everyone.